Good morning, Chevra. We're going to learn today, right now, for the Refuah Shlema. Everything should be successful for Jeremy's mother-in-law, for Tehila's mother, Dina Golda Bas Chiana, right? That's the mother's name. Okay, please open up in the Bnei Machshava Tova to page 50. We have a lot of stuff to cover today. I'm so in need of a Piasetzner mikvah, like it's no one's business. We all are. No, I don't know about you guys. I know I need it. I don't know who needs a mikvah or not. What do I know? I just know that, just knowing we have the opportunity to connect ourselves to the words of the tzaddik, Klonymus Kalman Shapira, always just puts us in the right place, So this should really, really zone us in a very strong way because we have a lot to cover today and a lot of beautiful things. So if you look on page 50, on Ot Vav, you ever walk down the street and wonder, why do I have this thought, Hashem? What am I getting from thinking about these things? Pointless thoughts. You ever stop and be like, why in the world am I thinking? Not what triggered it, but rather, what is the purpose of having such a thought? We're not only talking about like impure thoughts, but just like, stop. What a waste of energy. What a waste of things being put in my mind. Because remember, last time we learned, Piasetzner told us, thoughts that go through you, they don't just like leave you and just like, you don't know do it. They're subconsciously building some kind of a structure within you that you're unaware of. But here the Piasetzner is gonna address something that I think happens to us quite often, as to what is the reason of why I have certain thoughts, bad thoughts, about people, about things, about energy, who knows what. Ot Vav. The tzaddik says, Im yalelecha machshava ra'a, or rak machshava betela, shemebalbelet otcha betfilatcha v'toratcha. If some kind of a bad thought suddenly rises up within you, or you have some kind of a pointless thought that confuses your davening or your learning, okay? So during learning, when I'm actively learning, I have less of a problem with bad thoughts because my thoughts are engaged in my intellectual back and forth, what's going on in my mind. But when do pointless thoughts, mamish, save all their energy for? Musaf Yom Kippur, like in the Eloi. To davening, right? Anything that could possibly come up that seems to be distracting saves its time for Shachas, Mincha, and Mariv. Or Hisbodedus, I find it also when I designate the time Hisbodedus, and then I go out until I actually clear myself from the distractions. Is just like 10 minutes just of, just stop bothering me, So the Rebbe says, so what happens when this, what do you do when this happens? Classic, these things happen, these questions come up all the time. He says, Habet HaShamayma, look up to the Shamayim. This is something we should mekabel on ourselves. We should actively take upon ourselves. Habet HaShamayma, look up to the heavens. Or, Zgor et Einecha, if you're in a room if you happen to not be davening in an open base medrash, right? He says, "Zgor einecha," close your eyes, v'chaven kashem Hashem kel rachum b'chanon. Go into the 13 attributes of mercy that were revealed to Moshe Rabbeinu after the sin of the golden calf. Kaven Hashem kel rachum b'chanon. He says here, dafka b'machshava v'lo b'dibur. Don't say it. Go to the thoughts. Trust. You know how to do this. He's basically saying. We've been there before with strengthening your thoughts. Go to that place. Kavenet machshava. Davka machshava v'lo b'dibur. Ubetach ta'avor ma'alecha be'ezrat Hashem. And it for sure, be'ezrat Hashem, these pointless, confusing, distracting thoughts will pass from you. So again, try this. Go there. Take his word for it. The Rebbe says, Betach yavor alecha. I'll take the Piasetzner's word for it. Don't try to darshan how it works. Why dafka? Go, Hashem kel rachum b'chanon. You're bringing down 13 attributes of mercy. Rabbanu Shleilim. Each of us could have a. I know we could each find ourselves with the following tefillah: Hashem, please have Rahmanis on my soul. Please have Rahmanis on my thoughts. I just want to be close to you. Just have some Rahmanis on my thoughts. Those thoughts that make me feel that I'm really far from you. When all I want to be, all I want to feel is that I'm drawing nearer and nearer to you. Hashem, don't say this obviously, in your mind. Hashem, kel rachum b'chanon. Eli, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I'm thinking, he says, Dafka b'machshava v'lo b'dibur. I can talk all day long and thoughts still run through my head.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm forced to think this, then the thought goes away. There's nothing else to think about. If I really think this, it's an interesting...
I'm going like this and not saying anything because I'm thinking about what you're saying. I'm not saying I'm thinking about what you're saying. It's more like... All right. Zayin. Harbe pa'amim. This is another eitzah. Again, what is the Rebbe doing here? These are guidelines to figure out everything that the Rebbe said to us through this whole sefer. Guidelines of implementation. Zayin. Harbe pa'amim ben bebeitcha uben barachov. Do this often. What? Whether you're sitting at home or whether you're walking down the street. Techaven mitoch shvirat halev. Go into the place of your broken heart. Now, what do you think he means? Before we look inside, what do you think he means? Techaven b'shvirat halev. Have kavana with the shvira of your heart, your broken heart. What does that mean? What do you think that means?
I think that people have a tendency in the places of their brokenness to become numb to it and ignore it and push it deeper and deeper inside. And
so he's saying, take that and use it for aim with something. Techaven. Don't ignore it. Techaven b'shvirat halev.
The opposite of it.
Yeah, mamash. Okay, now I'm going to ask you again, after we learn what he just said, what do you think he means with the concept of shvirat halev? Kol, now what should you be thinking about? He says like this: Kol ha'olam elokutu. The whole world is godliness. Gargir chol asher tachat raglai, the grain of sand that is beneath my feet is part of godliness. Ha'avir shani noshem bekirbi, the air that I'm inhaling in my midst. This is godliness. V'chol ha'metziut metziut elokut hema. And all of existence, all of reality, is a reality of godliness. He says, go there and then ask yourself the following question. V'lama zeh nitrachakti ani mikol machaneh hashchina zu liot reshut le'atzmi beratzon v'da'at baguf af nefesh megushamim chas v'shalom. Why have I become so distant from this whole encampment of Shechina to be my own entity? I'm my own zach, my own thoughts, my own dat. How did this happen? Or why did it happen that I've bechavana become a separate entity, so to speak? You're not really. But if that's where you are in your mind, you are where your thoughts are. Who said that? You are where your thoughts are?
No.
What? Huh?
Nothing.
Yeah, but today when you say that in the Welt, who do they attribute that to? Not to anyone that's coming from the Sfarim. They'll either say, who was the big guy in the 60s? Be here now.
Oh.
Ramda, a Yid, but yeah.
Richard Alpert.
Heilige Richie Rich. I wonder what his real name is.
Richard Alpert.
No.
I think it's Hebrew
At
name.
his bris, he wasn't called Richard. Reb Shlomo has a crazy story with him, but whatever, it's for another time. He's saying, ask yourself, like, lama nitrachakti? How did I just stop and ask yourself, if this whole world is elokut, if every single thing is a godly reality, if the air that I'm breathing right now, if I'm aware of its source, of where it's coming from, how can I take that which I'm inhaling to give me life? That's keeping my existence intact, right? While in my mind, I'm my own thing. I'm something separate. And cry and think that from that place of Shvirat Halev, ask yourself that question. And then he says, go for it and say, Ribono shel Olam, Karveni Eilecha, bring me close to you, mitoch chavtet. Now I'm trying to figure out what this chavtet means over here. Eli, do you know these Rashi Tevas? I've been going through this. I can't figure it out. If anyone that's learning with us online wants to help us, or anyone here, one of the things I came from is Karveni Eilecha mitoch kol tuv. But I don't know if that's exactly that. Bring me close to you, maybe from everything that's good. Umitoch tshuva shlema, and from a place of absolute tshuva shlema. And then he says, Ayen seder emtzai v'yisod ha'chevra ot yudalet. So when I went back and looked at what is he referring to, it was a very, very long one about a person where he says a person has to stop and pay attention and take notice that every single thing is a gargil. Every single thing is elokut. Every single thing is godliness. How could it be that I'm making a point of saying that every single thing is godliness, and yet I feel like I'm something that's completely what we call michutz lamachane. I'm outside of the camp. Everything is godliness, but I'm outside of the camp. How could that be? Now, in reality, is that true, that emes? Leval yidach mimeno nidach. Everyone's inside. But where did my thoughts take me that I could mamish feel that I'm separated from that place of everything is elokut, that everything is godliness? How in the world did I get here? So instead of trying to figure out how you got here, which we'll do that in a second, before you start that journey as to how did I get here, stop and say, Ribono shel Olam, please. Now these are mamish, like action. What the Rebbe is saying here, these are instructions. This is not like, the Piasetzner Rebbe says that when a person does this, he should do this. This kind of oath that we're learning here is, as we're learning this, we should. I'm unfortunately very much connecting to Od Zayin. I wish I didn't connect to Od Zayin, but there's so many moments that I stop and say, like, wow, the show is going on, and yet I've signed myself up for a different script. And who's directing that other script? Me, so to speak. I'm producing it. I'm screening the whole thing. Why? Ribono shel Olam. I know I'm in the program. Bring my mind, bring my cup back into the program that your script, you're directing. You wrote it. It's all you. So these are two very important lemaisa warrior Torahs. This is mamish warrior Torah, both of these things. Vav and Zayin. One is the closing of the eyes, or looking up at the Shamayim, and just thinking, Hashem, Hashem, Kel Rachum Bechanun. And Zayin is basically saying, putting it out there and saying, why have I become so separate from the camp of Shechina? What happened to me? Now these two are really just a preparation for the next Torah that we're going to be learning.
Interesting that it's not, the Oz Vav is not Shira slave, right? You can have these Machshava that are...
Right, because Vav is more reactionary, Zion is less reactionary, and it's more,
Go there.
I'm going there.
Well, don't you think that through, the Vav is almost saying, wait a minute, take stock, govern over your thoughts, right? You're focusing, and then once you go in that place, you realize, oh my God, where am I? How did I get here? And that's where I think that's where the brokenheartedness comes from.
Could be. If we had to connect, it
could
could
lead to
lead.
the Shira slave.
You
It
have
could.
this newfound awareness, right? You've kind of woken yourself up to the fact.
Right. It could be. On Zion, he's saying actively choose sometimes when you're walking down the street or you're just sitting in your home and stop and go there. Could be. But both these things take like mamish proactive steps. They're like saying, Zion especially is like, okay, now I'm choosing to be a warrior. I'm actively, consciously choosing right now to do something that is not going to make me, I'm not chilling now. In the big picture, it'll bring a tremendous, holy inner chill. But Od Zion is basically saying, I'm not like just going to go about my day. I'm going to stop right now, inventory. I'm going inside and asking myself these questions that normally I'd rather not ask. I'd rather not go into.
I think it's important Torah. Zion is the Torah of going to that place of like, as if the place that God is separate and you're separate and everything's separate and God is not revealed in that place. And going there, and what he's saying is saying go there and force the idea that God exists here as well. Like don't force that reality that don't just ignore it, but go into that space and proactively go to that space and say, no, this is where God is. It's easy to see God in the eyes of your children and all these wonderful things, but go into that space and say, this is where God is too.
And I'm also there.
I'm connected there.
I'm
too.
also there. Yeah, this is a very deep one. Anyway, these two things, it'd be really good to see, to check in next time you learn Piasetzner. Actually, that's what we're going to decide to do right now, about these two things. Next time, I'm letting you all know, I'm going to ask all of you when either of these things came up. All right? So let's really makabel on ourselves. Eli, yeah?
I was wondering, I don't know, I'm just sort of working through this. We're sort of all on the road somewhere between Rabbi Akiva and Acher. Right? That's like, Acher was Kostis Benitias, I'm outside the Machane, I can't come back, whatever. And they both came to these places from both a place where something just happened to them, and also a place where they both went deep inside and focused deep inside. Right? And the question is what attitude we're going to take as things happen to us, and what attitude we're going to take as we try to go deep inside. And we really want to hang on to Rabbi Akiva and say, Acher, it's such a shame what happened to you. So don't let me be there.
That's beautiful. It's a good day when it's 9:15 and Rabbi Akiva's name came up already twice in the morning. All right, let's continue now. Okay, Otchet, now. I'm just putting it out there that this is not speaking about anyone individually in this room or anyone that's learning with us, doesn't matter what. However, you'll probably think that the Rebbe is speaking right about when he's going to move. Can you see me? It's okay? Okay, move over a little bit. Perfect, thank you. Anger, you mamish changed my life in a really, really bad way. Anger, I won't say heilige anger. I would say, I don't know what the other word is, but that song we've been singing, Brenner, heilige, Brenner, or whatever. Just using it as an example.
Well, it is Brenner.
It is Brenner. I was in camp, this Shabbos, I had the privilege of being in Camp Simcha. That's where I was for Shabbos. If any of you know about Camp Simcha, Mamish Admas Kodesh. That place is Kodesh Kodeshim. Do you know about Camp? You know where Camp Simcha is? It's up in, right as you get into Pennsylvania. So it's up there in the mountains. It's absolutely gorgeous, and actually was, I don't know if I sent you guys any pictures. It's all a lot of snow. It was amazing. It was so freezing, but inside I was burning because the grounds are mamish holy fire there.
And the kids.
Well, the kids were only there in the summer, but the place itself, it doesn't matter all year long. There's kind of stuff going on, but the place in the summer is a camp I call it utopia, meaning it's not utopia because of the situation of the kids there, but the way it's kids that are terminally ill. But what happens there, like I played there years ago, and I remember that was like you can't say that was another concert. That was like something else that happened in my reality, and everything else is something else. But like, there's something incredibly, incredibly beautiful. I've stopped thought about it because on my door that I was staying at, there was a sticker. It said, "Camp Simcha, you mamish changed my life." So, if there's one midah that we would do anything to mamish uproot, as much as we know that it's, I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it's the big one. It's the big one. It's kas. It's anger. What wouldn't we do to uproot that from our midst inside? To make it be a non-thing. Mamish a non-thing. We would do anything in the world. So what the Piasetzner now what he's going to do is he's going to say, up until now when I've told you that things might pop up, this and that, so go into a certain zone. Here he's saying you'll see, when it comes to certain midas, you got to do root work. You could go to a zone and saying, okay, I want to think about something else right now. With anger, that doesn't really work. I'm so angry. Or the Piasetzner says, think about something else. Okay, Bob Costas. Oh, I'm not so angry. It doesn't work like that. That's not with the stuff that really messes us up. And anger is something that's motzi adam min ha'olam. It removes us from our world. Remember the Torah we learned from the Arizal? Why do we say kol hakoyes kilu oved avodah zarah? That someone that's angry, it's as if he's serving an idol. Because at that moment his neshama is not in his midst. The neshama kind of tells the person while they're angry, okay, you do your thing, I'm going to hang out here, and when that's out of you, there's room for me to come back inside. You're operating from a place of anger somewhere that is bichlal not soulful, because the soul can't be with you while you're operating out of a place of anger. The soul, Mamash says, Rabbi Shlomo, everybody, the whole teaching is, the soul says, okay, now you have a good time. This is not my zach. I'm not here. So now this is real root work, warrior Torah, in the deepest place, and Hashem should help us really have the right kavanah as we connect to the words of the tzaddik of the Piasetzner. Tizaher me'od betikun midotecha. When it comes to the tikkun of midot, be very careful. Now, what's the difference between tikkun hamidot and what he said until now? Just to spell it out, to explain what we're doing here. When we talk about chizuk hamachshava, is that tikkun hamidot? Not necessarily. It's part of a certain aspect. But when he's speaking about strengthening the mind, the thought process, he's not speaking specifically about the midot of a person. What's another midah that we want to, Be'ezrat Hashem, uproot completely from our midst? Gaiva. And that's obviously the two midas he's going to be talking about over here right now. Haughtiness. Chizuk machshava, strengthening our thoughts, is one thing to help us operate on a much more refined level, on a very general aspect. But he comes over here, he never says, Tizaher me'od b'chizuk machshava. Here he says, but when it comes to tikkun amidas, here, root work. You got to do some real serious work over here. Tizaher me'od b'tikkun midotecha. V'chol midah sheteda ba'atzmecha sheyoter pkuma bach. Every attribute, any midah that you know in yourself that it's really blemished, tichpol avodatcha ba. You got to take on a double shift. Meaning, yeah, we all have anger, we all have whatever, but there's certain midas, whether it could be that one, could be another one, that you yourself know, here I'm mamish messed up. So here he says, here mamish, double work. Tichpol avodatcha ba. Double time. Tichpol avodah. Ubetachbulot ta'aseh lecha milchama. And we learned this as well. What's ubetachbulot? What's a tachbula? A trick. And you have to do tricks with this avodah. You have to come up with a bunch of tricks. Not just like be consistent in saying, I'm going to work on this. But remember, we learned this when we were learning this Sefer inside. You got to come up with a bunch of tricks in order to fake out the Yetzer Hara when it comes to certain midas. Anyone want to give an example of being a warrior, going out to battle, but using tricks in order to defeat your enemy?
So sometimes when there's something that you want and you really shouldn't have it, you say, you know what? I don't have to have it right now.
One sec. I can't hear you.
Sometimes if there's something that you want, but you know that it's not what you need or what's good for you, so you say, okay, I don't need to have that right now. I'll have it in an hour.
Right. Wait, Yossi, what does that sound like regarding Reb Blazer when it comes to anger? Remember what he always said? Whenever you get angry, you say, okay, 1 second, I'll be angry in 1 second. But first go like this. Yud K. Love K. I'll get angry in a second. But first I'm just going to say Shem Hashem and put my hand on my heart. Yud K. Feel my pulse. Love K. Yeah. That's a trick. That's a trick. And then what happens? Then I'm really angry. No. That's a perfect example of a tachbula.
We talked about Kiddush a few weeks ago about what the altar from Kalman do.
Yeah.
He had angry clothes in his closet.
Clothes?
When he felt that he was getting angry, he had clothes that he had designated that he'd put on,
Right.
but he never got a chance to put them on. Because he'd go to the closet and he'd look at them.
Reminds me, I remember when I was a kid, there was a house, my friend's house in Ranana. His mother set up, I remember one time I came to the house and I saw that there was like a designated area in the dining room and half in the living room. It was like off limits. And whenever like someone wanted to say something that was kind of bad, Lashon Hara, then they couldn't say it in that designated area, so they had to walk a little bit outside of it till you felt like such an idiot.
You wanted to say Lashon Hara.
Right, like, when I say Lashon Hara, so I'm from, so I have to walk into the other side of the den, right?
Safe space.
But at a certain point, you're like, wait, this is crazy, right? Just tachbulas, you got to come up with a bunch of tricks. Straight up smart is not going to help you with the real stuff. Just like, okay, and those
anger, because anger is one of those things that just takes the driver's seat.
I like the idea of his clothing.
yeah,
but that, then
it's really like.
But
and also,
they say count to 10. There's all sorts of different.
put yourself in the
right. Shimon's saying
your kids,
you're not going to count
are
to
going
10.
crazy. Everything's going. You're like,
My
forbid about the clothes. My kids, forget about the clothes.
So find something that works for you.
You know,
you gotta.
But I think anger is a special one because it takes the driver's seat. That's why we.
He's going to address that. He's going to do. You're right.
He's a hair mode.
So
This needs a-
okay, here comes anger.
Double time.
Oh, hi, anger.
I
Right.
know you.
I find this one so fascinating. I had this last night discussion with my wife on this topic. It was someone that I know, straight shooter, real good guy, family man, learner, davener, doesn't drink. Really, maybe that's a problem. Just really, and ultimately harmless. But every so often, he has this ability to go into what any seemingly normal person would describe as a total fit of rage. Like totally, like from the, meaning just the voice. I personally, will shake. And it comes from such a place, but then he could be fine, like a few moments later, he thinks it's kind of like, oh, that was nothing. I'm like, you're really. And I'm looking around, does everyone understand this person needs to be committed? But I know his whole life though is perfectly, fine and yashar and great. And I just don't. I guess I've angered it, but I can't understand it, and I just can't understand how it's possible that someone like this has the ability to have this switch that flips, and he can go into such seemingly a dark place.
What do you think it is about anger?
And so my wife said, "Well, no, you don't understand. This is what it's really. First of all, it's like any other weakness that a person may have. So whatever their own weakness is, anger might not be yours, even though it still needs to be eradicated and worked on. It's like any other weakness or thing that someone needs to work on. And what is it though? Like at the root, meaning what would I say to him at the root? I'm not sure. And that's why when Shimi said that, hey, this is something that is really
driver's seat.
Driver's seat. Like and now I'm hearing it twice in the last 24 hours when I was talking about this. I don't know what I would say to him. Learn, he does it. Get stuck, and he does it. Ultimately harmless. He won't hit. He's not going to hit you. Like it's not going to turn into like a physical being. Like I understand the guy that turns into the physical being. He just totally loses himself and like he does it. And it's just like this personality and kind of. But like in this case, and apparently people have this. That's another thing. Apparently people do in fact suffer from this midah in this type of way. And where you're just watching from the outside, oh my gosh, that's you're another person.
It's interesting.
Like you said, like, okay, what would it tell me? Learn more Torah, or
I don't know.
Get more tested?
Yeah.
That's not going to
Well, I don't know what he's going to say.
No, I'm saying,
that's
like,
let's see.
I'm just saying that's a joke.
He's not talking here about how you can help other people. He's talking about going inside yourself.
If you're ignoring stuff like anger, which is such a big thing, and you're not addressing the root, then it doesn't matter. Do kind deeds 99.9% of the time. You're going to be dealing with anger your entire life.
I think this is the last time we saw him say the word Machshava was when he was talking about the warrior Torah a few months ago, I guess it's been now, a couple months ago. And he said that if you show up to the war and you haven't done the work, you already lost. So I think that that's what he's talked about the last time he talked about the Machshava. So if we're talking about Machshava again, I think that the idea is that we have to do the work way before the anger took the driver's seat.
Very good. Don't wait for anger to come and say, okay, what's that trick? It's too late.
Yeah, it's too late. Because that's the last time we talked about Machshava. You're too late.
Maybe that's why it talks all about the preceding stuff is all strengthening your Machshava. Look, if you come at this from a logical place, a place of logic within your own head, where you know, because of previous times you got angry, nothing good is going to come out of what you're about to say. You can't take those words back.
Yeah, but b'shayis ma'aseh, well,
that's the thing.
It doesn't work when you can't come to that realization while it's happening. You can't be like, oh, I'm so angry, but wait a second, nothing ever good came out of this, so I'll stop. So it's not worth it. No, pregame.
Like if you think about like one of the things, like let's say you get angry at your children, if you come home and there's like your house is destroyed. So if you know that those are the hypothetical, God knows my children have never destroyed my home. If you know that that's a trigger for you, and you're driving home and you're like, okay, I know that if I go in the house, I'm going to like be triggered. So you're like, okay, I'm thinking about the trigger, and if I open the front door and it's a wreck, I'm already acknowledging that I don't want to go there. So like you're like looking for those triggers.
Right. Rabbi speaks about that too.
The roadmap. He talks before also about watching the pins on the roadmap, and like if we know the pins on the roadmap, if we can be conscious to see where those triggers are, like 5 steps ahead. Like I know that if this happens, then this will happen, and then that trigger will. And I know, and I'm watching this roadmap so that you can catch yourself on the roadmap before you give anger the driver's seat.
But I think this is even more. This is even saying, get rid of the trigger. There shouldn't even be a trigger. Eliminate the trigger.
Right. You know what? It's like this. Recognizing what the trigger is good work. But the root work is eliminating it.
Eliminate the type of trigger.
Exactly.
Right.
Yossi, remember Rabbi Brody used to say, always have a sandwich with you before you eat a sandwich in the car before you walk into the house.
That's a very practical suggestion. Because a lot of this will come from just first off, you're hungry. So if you're just hungry,
and you come home after a day of work. Not that that's applicable to
I don't like to do that because
everybody here. But
it's like, why should I like buy a sandwich when I know I got food at home?
Right.
So it's like a money thing. And then I'll be like, you know what? It's really not worth getting angry. And I know that whenever I come in, and I have food, something practical and physical.
Take the 15 shekel and buy a sandwich.
Well worth it. That's a good thing. Another thing, I heard this from Barrel Wine, but I think the Lord speaks about it also. He said he's got like a tree in front of his house, and before he'd walk in, he would like just dump all the problems of the day like on that tree. That's right.
You're
talking to a tree. And I know I look crazy, and I'm doing it, and I'm talking to it, and he claims that tree, died or never grew, which does make sense. We tried this in our house.
Rav Beryl Wine said this?
Rav Beryl Wine said, I know. I heard it.
Hey,
I
really?
personally heard it from him.
Wow.
But other people speak about it, and it's a nice little trick. I try to do that as well. Just to shake off, any of the negative energy. Really, a lot of it comes down to before you walk in the house. That is a biggie, and just try to come in that way.
All right, let's go back inside. I'm reading from the beginning. תיזהר מאוד בתיקון מידותיך, לכל מידה שתדע בעצמך שהיא יותר פגומה בך, and that which you know by you which is more blemished. The Piasetzner says, תכפול עבודתך בה, double work, whatever that is, whether it's talking to a tree, whatever it is, more of that. ובתחבולות תעשה לך מלחמה, and when it comes to war, you have to find the tricks through which you engage in battle. היינו, תחקור למצוא לך עצות איך לתוקנן. Investigate, go deep into trying to figure out עצas, how to fix that which is so blemished by you. ובעיקר, תחקור על המניעה שמונעת אותך מלתקן את המידה הפגומה. What should you really, תחקור literally means to investigate. חקירה. What should you really investigate, to go deep into? Try to understand the miniya. Miniya means the prevention, right? That which prevents you from fixing a blemished midah. That's exactly what we're talking about. Go into the root work of trying to understand what is it that stops me from really not falling in this certain midah. Ve'et ha'miniya ta'avir. And hopefully after a while, that which prevents you won't be a stumbling block anymore.
Is that what he's saying? Is he saying what's the stumbling block, or is he saying what stops you from wanting to get anger out of your life?
That could be a stumbling block as well. He's not saying no ratzon here. That's why I can't say for sure it's what he's saying. He's speaking specifically about a meniya. Meniya means an actual prevention. But I totally hear that, legamre, on a deeper level, like beneath the surface. I'm sure that each of us could relate to that. ואת המניעת האוויר. ואם לא עלה לך בפעם הראשונה, תנסה עוד פעם. Remember what he said about medicine? Take the first dose, doesn't work, don't say, it's not working. You try it again. Now he says, ואם לא בעצה זו, but if that thing which you thought would help you prevent the anger or whatever it is, try a different etza. Okay, the trick's not working. That thing doesn't work for me. The sandwich is not, for whatever the reason, that's not my thing. It's not working for me. Whatever it is, the clothes for me are not working. The anger clothes. Whatever it is. Like if a person realizes that after 2 years of designating a certain space in their house that they don't speak Lashon Hara in, that they so easily go to the other side they don't speak Lashon Hara, it means that designated area is not doing it. It's not doing it. ואם לא תסור משדה המלחמה, תתמיד תתחזק ותעבוד. בטח יעזור לך השם בתוכלה. He's saying, but if this doesn't take you, if you're still in the battlefield with all this stuff, be consistent. Strengthen yourself each time. Keep on working on all that we've mentioned. And Hashem will for sure help you, and you will be able to overcome that which right now seems impossible. Okay, now for each person, only you know what it is, that thing that you need to work on the most. A tzaddik really know, meaning like if we had a tzaddik, if we could, the tzaddik's vision also enables us to really mechaven us quite often to that place. But the Rebbe believes that we know also what the pagam is that we need to work on more than other things. Now, this is where he really gets inside the kishkas. We can go on a few more minutes? Okay. ובכלל העיון בעצמו מועיל הרבה, ובפרט העיון במידותיו. You know what עיון means? What's the difference between learning bekias and learning be'iyun? What's that? Right. Bekiyus is like an overview of in learning, in the yeshiva, there's two ways of learning. You learn, I have a seder in Bekiyus, I have a seder be'iyun, which means Bekiyut means, Bekiyus, it's just like this overriding way of I learned something, but not really.
Russian.
What's that? On the surface. Iyun means I'm going inside the Rishon, maybe I'm even doing chakiras, especially the way they learn in Brisk. Chakiras, I'm going inside, investigating, delving into the depth of a sugya. He says, going inside yourself is mo'il. Mo'il means does good. Ubifrat hayun b'midotav, going inside your midas. Not just wanting to not have them, but to understand. Why is it that I think, or what is it that says to me, I cannot get over this one? He says, let's take two people suffering from the same bad midah. Shel kas, lamashal. Let's say we're talking about the midah of anger. But if they don't really go into the depth of what their essence is, who they really are, it's very hard to break this bad midah. But if they do chakir, if they go inside, they will infiltrate chadira. They will have a chadira into their actual midah. Veyavo ad hagarin shebera'atam, and they will go into the seed where it starts of their evilness, of the wickedness, the badness. When you do that, and by the way, this takes a lot of guts. This takes a lot of guts. And we're not just talking about, realizing what I was missing in childhood. Like that's Seder. We realized, we know already that's where it starts, but really going into that place and being vulnerable enough to see that ugly side that we really try, we try to ignore that because it's not just uncomfortable, it could paralyze us if we don't know what to do. Yavo adagarim, but if you go there and you go to the seed of that which really is the beginning of a trigger, not even the trigger, but that which causes a trigger to be a trigger, yakel lahem lerapot pitzam ad me'era. The healing process becomes much faster. Ki yachol liot she'echad mehem ein lo klal pgam b'midat ka'aso, because it could be that a person that has a problem with kas, anger, when he does the root work, he realizes, wait a second, my issues are not with anger. Rak pgam shel geut. My blemish is haughtiness, being a Baal Gaiva. You hear what he's saying? The symptom, what you see by two people is anger. They both do root work. One of them comes to the conclusion, but my issues that I'm having, they're not stemming from really anger inside. It's more a problem of gaiva, and that gaiva leads to
is the result.
Anger is a result, exactly. But really, that's not what's happening inside. And since all men seem into this guy, when he looks at the world, he looks at everybody like they're what? Monkeys. So that leads him, that gaiva, really, which, in his eyes...
Disdain.
What do you mean?
It's like disdain. Like he looks down on everyone.
Which causes, right.
Right, like, who are
He's
they?
saying that leads, right, who are you? So that leads to kas. But really, it doesn't come from an innate place of anger. It's just that, you don't really... There was someone here in the community once that he told me, it was a very high moment. He said to me, my wife tells me all the time that I think that everyone's stupid. And she's kind of right. And that's where my issues of my anger come from. Mamish, what he's saying here. When you think that everyone else is kind of stupid, you're not so peaceful with other people. It leads, that haughtiness leads very quickly to, it manifests through the midah of kas. Now that could be, for one person, where it's coming from. For the other person, bichlal not. But you won't know what the root work of it is unless you go deep down inside and do the soul work over here. ויכולו לעבוד כל שנותיו להיטיב דעת הכעס ולא יועיל. Now this person could spend his whole life for years trying to get rid of anger, but that's not his Indian. כי האם מי שאינו בעל כעסן לא יצעק, אף יקל לפעמים את הקוף והחמור. You can have a person that is not really his thing is not really anger, but he'll come to a situation of like doing something crazy, like striking an animal or something wacky like that. ואם יחקור ויבוא עד לגרעין כעסו, but if you investigate and come to the root work of why a person like this is so angry, יראה שרק גאוות ליבו סיבת כעסו. He'll see that the gaiva of his heart is really what's driving this anger. Meaning he's not really angry at anything. It's just that he acts, his mannerism is that of anger, but that's not really what's the driver's seat is not anger. Gaiva is what's driving in that car.
In this
person's example. In this person's example. V'yitaken et midat ga'avato. So then that person, where's his root work? Gaiva. V'shav v'rapa. Now what's the obvious question that everyone should have regarding what we just said right now? What's an obvious question?
How do you get to the honesty within yourself to figure out what the seed is?
You have to learn this book about 5,000 times. I would say, listen to every eighth of the Rebbe said. All of them. The main one is Hashkata. A main, if not the most main, is to figure out what it is, the observing of thoughts, and not living through it or judging it, enables a person to know what the root work is. Does that make sense? The Hashkata?
We talked about Tova and Zion. That's all part of that process. What's the broken part of your heart? It's this.
But you don't know that unless you go outside of your thoughts and observe them and see how fast something leads you to something. And then you'll realize, oh yeah, this is what's leading me to acting and feeling like this. Or, this isn't. For many people, like for instance, sexual frustration can be the root cause of a million bad midas, specifically anger. Could be. Or haughtiness as well. But in order to have to have enough guts to go to that place, mamash of vulnerability, that's just one example. For another person, it could be, I don't know, choose a midah. It doesn't matter what it is. Right? It's just those are easier to trace. But that trace root work, the Rebbe has given us so many eitzes how to do that soul root work. But now he goes to the other midah, v'chen b'midas gaiva. So too with the midah of haughtiness. Yesh mishu ba'al gaiva be'emet. There's someone who's mamish a ba'al gaiva. V'yesh mishu sibat gavato hi she'ino nimtza ben anashim gdolim mimeno. And then there's another person whose the reason was driving his gaiva, his haughtiness, is the fact that he's not really amongst exalted people. And even if he is in the midst of great people, he doesn't know the value and the worth of the people that he's around. Therefore, a person like this thinks that since he's able to learn, even if it's a little bit, he's a great lamdan. Why? Because he's not amongst other people. He's not in the midst of greatness. So the little that he knows, he goes to his head so fast, he thinks, wow, look at me. Mamish, I knew I had to get out of America when I was 22, when I realized that if I tell someone that Rabbi Nachman was the great-grandson of the Baal Shem Tov, wow, you know so much. Like, oh my God. This depends where you are, right? Depends certain areas where you place yourself. It's very easy to feel like you're mamish holding court in certain areas, in certain, social circles. It's a very simple thing. That's why Eretz Yisrael is mamish mashpil game.
Big leagues.
Eretz Yisrael is mashpil game. Like here, you could be living in a community like this and you have no idea who here finished Shas 3 times next to you. You know, the guy's working as a carpenter all day long. The guy might have finished Shas. Maybe he knows Tikkun, Kisvei Arizal back and forth, inside out. Eretz Yisrael, Mamish is an absolute nullifier in these areas. So again, לכן דומה לו שהוא כיוון שיכול ללמוד מעט, למדן גדול, ושכמו למעלה מכל העם. And he feels like he's mamish exalted than everyone else. Takanato pshuta v'kala. So a person like that, it looks like his problem is really gaiva. It's not. It's just that he's confused due to where he physically places himself. He's saying when a person does root work, he realizes his tikkun is simple. What? Go to a real base medrash. Sheitchaber im anashim gdolim mimeno. Go and sit by the feet of giants, or not even of giants, people that are even a little bit bigger than you. V'yidaber imayim, have a shmuz with them, speak to them. V'yayin basfarim mimidot u'ma'alot gdolim v'gdoshim, and go into the svarim of the midas and the milas of great and holy people. V'yir'eh pchituto, and he'll see his smallness. V'yitbayesh be'atzmo al ga'avato hakodemet, and he'll be embarrassed and ashamed as to where he thought he was just a few minutes ago. But the point of this last ot chet, it's tremendous. It's really tremendous. Yeah, you need to do the tricks, you need to figure all these things out, v'chule, v'chule. But we all know that each of us is so different and so complex. We're so complex. Each of us, what made us who we are is a pile of so many different variables that made us into who we are and make our midot activate the way that they do. It's incredible. With siblings, amongst their parents, this happens all the time. You can take 3 siblings, let's say. Okay, take 5. I don't want to take anyone in this room that... Whatever it is, right? Take 5, 7 siblings in a room. A mother or a father can say one word, and it can trigger one thing by one kid, drive them nuts, while the next one's like, I don't understand what the big deal is. Well, their experience of growing up in that house was something different. Their chakira as to why they react the way they act, or don't react the way they react, will lead them to knowing what their avoda is in certain areas. But the Rebbe is saying over here, Tizaher me'od v'tikun midotecha. When it comes to the tikkun of midot, this is great. This is not just like, be more connected to the reality and breathe in God. This is saying like, in this world, what are we here for? I want to nip anger and I want to get to Gaiva and those places. What's another very bad midah? Laziness to me is just like one that, in the Ramchal speaks about this laziness, midas hatzlanus. Go to the root work of it. Is it because you're really tired? Is it because you're depressed? Or what is it? Maybe really it's disappointment. There's something in the depth of you that is innately disappointed with whatever happened to you or didn't happen to you, so it prevents you from really putting any work into anything. Could be. Or it could be the midah of your atzlanut is gaiva. We don't know. But the Rebbe has given us so many tools to not identify ourselves in a negative way or in a wrong way or in an elusive way, but defining ourselves and identifying ourselves in the most real way possible. He's saying, use all the techniques I've given you, not just to like, not be angry, but to go to the root work of it, because that's your tikkun amidah. I learned this from Chilik Frank a few weeks ago. You know Chilik? The clarinet player, the klezmer player, Chilik Frank. He said a gewalt thing over there. He said, when a tzara comes onto a person, there's 2 ways of davening over that tzara that comes down upon you. One of them is saying, Hashem, please remove this from me. And you know what might happen? Hashem will remove it from you. But you know what you lose? You lose an opportunity to fix your soul. When tzara comes onto you, and you say, Ribbon Shleilim, while I'm davening for you to please remove me from this, please give me a taste, or a little bit of an indication as to what is this tzara telling me about the work that I have to do on myself. So if you're really mamish holding, you might say, Hashem, don't remove this unless I'm learning from it what I'm supposed to be learning from it. That's a very high level. Can you imagine Saint Mamish going to that tefillah? Hashem, don't remove this until I've really absorbed into myself that I've mamish taken inside what this tzara is supposed to be telling me, and please let there be no confusions about it at all. Let it be clear to me as daylight. That's it.
It's the world of Bria.
Hmm?
It's the world of Bria.
Yeah? Why?
Because in the world of Asiya, it's the world where God left me, abandoned me, and I just have to do everything myself, so I'll figure it out myself. In the world of Yitzira, it's the opposite. It's I'm helpless, I'm with nothing. God saved me with a miracle. In the world of Bria is the integration. Hashem, let me feel this, I want to feel this, and help me know where I need to do the work. I'll do the work, and when I do the work, please take it off me. It's the world of Bria. That's how we...
Right. I mean, I think one of the main things here is like to figure out, like, okay, we get angry all the time, but are we really ka'asanim? Is that who we really are? Maybe we're not. A lot of in other midah, like this is I know what happens, but is this really who I am in its makor? Maybe not. But unless I go inside myself and unless I observe my thoughts instead of letting them control me, and unless I do a bunch of the other stuff, and now let's say what Dov said, unless maybe I do Vav and Zayin, will I really know what is my real inyan that I'm supposed to be working on in this world? What a waste it would be to spend your whole life doing holy work that's not really your own root work. The Rebbe is saying, let's not waste time. Let's make sure we get it in this Gilgul.
Just suppression at that point.
Yeah.
Holy suppression.
Yeah, you're trying.
It's holy suppression, but it's still suppression. Yeah.
That's why I would also caution everyone when doing this. So the first example I spoke was a guy totally lost it, and you can lose it and come home and see your kids. And that's like we all can relate to that kind of anger. Okay, obviously it's push, it's in front of you. The real kind, and most of the people that I know don't really do that. It's the inside. It's what they would call passive aggressive.
Right.
It's you talk about sexual frustration. Really? Okay, I'm going to shut down. And this whole place is going to shut down here until all that gets resolved. Well, but like, why is that? Why are you acting that way? And it seems in a lot of it probably does get back to root common. So God has a biggie and fear and pain and frustration. You're covering up something. I mean, it all comes. It's not rocket science in that sense. It's rocket science is the being vulnerable to find that.
Yeah.
But this quiet type of anger is what I think gets most of us.
Yeah. Right. It's as if it's not happening.
Yeah,
really
here, keep mad at me.
Look at me. Look at me. I'm fine.
Don't find a guy more in control.
Right?
I'm like, more,
and inside, you're bubbling. Yeah.
And by the way, and to the Kuda Tova of the guy that, and this really is the truth, that loses it, it's wrong to behave that way. That's true. But one thing I gotta say, the guy's straight up, which is meaning
he's saying he releases it.
He releases it all, and you know. It's called rage. Again, it's bad. But the godless of rage, and I'm almost a little bit jealous of that.
Is that it's expressive.
Is that he can get it out,
yeah.
And then he goes back to, as opposed to, I'm gonna keep it low burning, and we're gonna make it go my way.
Imagine though. Imagine
what a sheker! What a sheker!
Imagine if he could figure out what was causing him to get angry, and he wouldn't need to have that release because it wouldn't.
Right, as opposed to the other guys, like I don't have to figure anything out because I don't get angry. Really. Really?
That guy's a little scary. That guy was just quiet.
It's all bottled up.
Quiet.
He will explode. Well, he probably will explode in some form or fashion at some point.
Or not. Or
maybe not.
Lashing out.
Or he'll never.
Inside.
Or he'll just never be himself.
Either way.
Right.
I'm not a Baal Gaiva. You should know. Sometimes when I'm speaking, I could mamish Hashem. I want him to take this away from me, but I could see people looking at me like, "You're a monkey," you know. Meaning, like, that's what they're saying to me, like, you know, what are you talking, like, I wish I was amongst big people, you know, that's what I feel like they're saying, so I mean, Baruch Hashem, that just triggers me, I have to actually learn stronger, I guess, and but you could sense it, no, but you ask that guy, are you a Baal Gaiva? What are you talking about? I didn't say anything, I still come and daven here, but inside, you think every single person here is a lunatic. Root work.
Do we find it more? I'm thinking about the opposite of this. Like he's pointing it out, like
anger is this big symptom. It's not like anger isn't the end game. There's something that preceded it. Anger is like the symptom that comes out that something else is wrong.
Right.
But do we look at like when I feel like joy, like happy about something, I will like look at what got me to that. Whatever the things like, if I feel joy, there's something that preceded that, right? There's things that I did, I set that up, whatever, and then I'll focus and I'll try to do those things that, but it seems like doing the other way is much harder. Like, he spends all the time on these negative things, but don't we do the same thing chasing those positive things? And it seems like easier. It seems easier to connect with, I felt joy because I did these consistent, or I went to shul, or I did this, or I did something for my kid, and we chase those, but it seemingly, I don't know, I don't feel like I chase things that cause me to the bad.
Why would you? Why would you chase those things?
Well, because, like, you get angry enough times, and listen, if I get angry and it's just self-contained, it is what it is, and it affects me. But usually, like, my anger, like, affects other people. That's what makes me feel bad. Like, is when it affects, like, somebody I'm working with, or a family member, or a friend, or whatever, and I get angry at them, and I just feel like, that's what really gets me, is the other person. If I'm just in a room alone and I got angry, okay, I got angry. Like, maybe I'm separated, but I didn't affect somebody else. It doesn't make me feel
Well, so what are you Meister asking?
Well, like, if I'm in a room and I'm alone and I feel joy, I still want to chase that. Like, that feeling just feels like something I want to chase. But, like, if I'm in a room and I feel angry, I don't know, somehow it just, like, it doesn't affect me as much. So maybe that's, I don't know what makes it harder to chase the negative things, but it seems easier to, like, Hashem, when we do something that we feel good, whatever it is, you do a chesed and you feel, it seems more clear.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go to those negative places, somehow it's more hidden. It's more hidden. Maybe that's why he's got to bring it out and say, hey, this isn't...
Right, he's not saying, listen, when you're besimcha, really spend a lot of time trying to figure out why, because that's more, I guess, I'm just thinking about it for myself, it's something I welcome easier. I mean, it's something that I...
Right.
More than that. He says, don't be Hashem Yochem from all those people, and then never want to go close to them. Just over-analytical people.
Oh, right.
He's a high point. It's the opposite. When you look at something positive that's happening to you, and you have a kind of something, a winking or a happiness, let it be as it is. Don't think about how you got there.
Right, because what will it lead you to doing? You're going to end up doubting the existence of that midah. Yeah.
Well, also,
very good.
It's a great view because you're making, when it comes to bad midot, he's saying, no, you analyze the heck out of that thing because you need to make sure that you do not fall when it rears its
Interesting.
Yeah, those are the ones you need to change. The good ones, you
right.
leave alone. Just leave those alone. You're good there.
So you don't change them.
It's so interesting what you said because I was just listening to her recently. Basically, it's like, if you're feeling like a lot of joy and then you start thinking about it, it's gone.
Yeah.
And I guess the reason I think of it is that maybe the techniques that we used on these good things, we can turn them around and so easily use them. Like, let's say, but I'm angry, it's true. If I'm angry and I have that spark of awareness that, like, it's really hard, like, in the middle of it, it does, like, it takes me out.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, connecting back to Hashem and, like, whatever, can take, it's hard, like, because you get pulled back in, but it can take me out of it. And that's the thing, is you're not really, the anger, you're so engrossed in living it that you're, and so, I mean, maybe that's part of it is, I know that it's hard to, like, stay in living and not intellectualize and think about, because once you start doing that,
you're out. You're out.
Out of the game.
What was the program? You both went to it.
Landmark.
Like what would they say about this?
That's the mindfulness.
I wish it was mindfulness. It wasn't as mindful as
Right, that's something they would...
What freaked me out about it is that it led me to doubt anything good that ever happened to me as well. Because they said that everything that happens to you in your life is two circles. One is what happened, the experience, and two is how you interpreted it. That's what I got from it when I went. I went many years, like 17 years ago, but they're saying, like, that's basically what it is, right? What happened to you is one thing, and how you interpret it is another thing. But don't make it to be that it's only one circle. That can mess you up big time. Because then you could easily remove yourself, that feeling that you had from holiness, and say, no, that's just your perush on it. That's not what really happened.
It was just more of moment, meaning like not letting your mind. It brought me more of like I'm present here. Like it just helps me focus.
I should have gone to yours.
You updated one.
How long ago did you go?
A couple of years ago.
That was a long time ago.
Hashem gave me a grade. I was in learning shchita. You spend a lot of time sharpening your knives. They're very sharp knives, and one time I was sharpening my knives. So my kids, again, my only children, were acting crazy, and I realized I started getting angry. But I also realized I had a very sharp knife in my hand, and I realized that even if I expressed that, like if I yelled at my kids and I had that knife in my hand, that it would be very scary to them. And so it gave me like this consciousness of like, if I'm going to get angry, kind of the tricks, right? I'm going to put the knife away, I'm going to do everything, I'm going to put it all away, and then I'll yell at the kids. And of course that's stupid, you don't do that, right? And so it stopped, but it put this thought in my mind of I always have a knife in my hand, you know, and that anger is always a knife in your hand, and it's always, you know, and it's always like this scariness to your kids, that if, you know, as it pertains to your children, that if you get angry at them, it's not just like they can just turn, like you're big, they're small, you're their place of safety and security, you know, all these things. That it's like having a knife in your hand, and if you, like, that's a trick again, but if you think about it like that, I always have a knife in my hand, and if I get angry, what is my child going to think? Like, here I am, like, sharp knife in my hand. It really does create like a barrier between you and that place, because none of us would want our children to feel that way, you know.
Right.
Wow,
but it wasn't a moment of clarity. You know, I'm sitting there sharpening this knife, and all of a sudden I feel like...
You think at another place, you can picture yourself like, in those... I mean, again, this is a question, because like, as you said, in those moments it overcomes you. It's not like you can picture yourself with like, as you feel the anger welling up inside of yourself, you can picture yourself bowing down to a big Buddha, which is what you're doing. Like you're totally doing it, but I don't know.
We
did that. You just say passion, right?
You're
like that.
You're allow that feeling of anger to overcome you. That's the whole point.
I agree there. Just I'm picking up on Shlomo's comment earlier. Is like you allow it for sure, but it's there's so many checks and balances, locks and stuff that I by that time it happens, I don't even remember what happened in the last 5 seconds. Or in Yosef's example, which is something that definitely resonates with me, the passive aggressive anger, which kind of comes out, where it comes out with like, okay, you're not going to show anger, but you are going to hurt everybody around here with poisonous words. You know, like you know,
or by not saying anything.
I'm not
right.
that
Or by not even saying anything. But it's just that.
Yes.
You can't get me.
You know, it's that.
No eye contact.
But no eye contact.
Body language.
Nothing. I'm gonna make you dinner, and that dinner tastes like gar. You know, I'll take the kids. I'll take the kids to the park today.
There's a story in Rabbi Biederman this past Shabbos.
I'll take them.
There's a story in Rabbi Biederman this past Shabbos about a tailor who this wealthy man came to him to make a suit. He told him what kind of suit he wanted. The guy made him exactly this, but the tailor was a Balgaiva, and so he brings him the suit, and because the suit's awful. But all right, I'm gonna bring it to my wife, and she has the ultimate say. She says, "This is awful." He leaves. He's like totally broken. He finally goes to his Rav, and the Rav goes, "Go back to your shop, take out all the stitching, and then sew the same suit right back up again." So he says, well, he does it, brings it back, and the guy and his wife love the suit. So he went back to the Rav. He said, well, the first one was just made from this place of Gaia, right? So, and it, like you said, it's infused.
You know, Rabbi Shlomo used to say this story every year before Rosh Hashanah.
Oh, wow.
It's from the Piasetzner Rebbe, the son of the Yiddish Kaddish. And the way Rabbi Shlomo said it, he said that basically all year long, we come to Hashem with our mitzvahs or our Shabboses, saying, you know, here, put these on the scale, but, you know, Hashem says, listen, take everything you did, and now stitch by stitch, start again, and now bring that to me for Rosh Hashanah. All right, Yishar Koyach, everyone.